MX1 Kiss of Death, Jordan 13 Low Terracotta, Jordan 14 Terracotta, Air Force One Silk, Fragment Design, Clot, Nike Dunk Low. These are all collaborations from Clot and Nike as well as Jordan Brand. Sadly, it's all come to an end. Clot has officially switched allegiance to Adidas, and Edison Chen, the founder of Clot. Side note, I remember back in high school, someone called me like a very average looking version of Edison Chen. I'll take it, average, I'm good with that. But anyway, Edison Chen seems to have left the streetwear type of sneakers behind, going for a more, not quite sure exactly what to call it, more mature, maybe more high-end fashion, but not like super high-end, more chic, more elevated. Don't know exactly what to call it, but he's clearly going after something different with Adidas. But like always, with most of his collaborations, he's really putting his own spin on the shoe. And the shoe that I'm reviewing today, it is no different. Clot Adidas Gazelle Bluebird. Now, the shoe originally dropped on August 23rd for $160. There is another colorway, slightly more subtle, so the stripes that kind of just blends in with the rest of the upper. Now, this is not the first Clot Adidas shoe. The first one, it was the Samba. It was just a super bold and loud shoe. I would never wear that. I cannot pull that off. It is not a shoe for me. This one is slightly closer to a shoe that I would wear regularly. And of course, this is just not a regular Gazelle. It is very different. You can recognize the silhouette, but pretty much everything else about it is reimagined. And Clot has put their own twist and flavor onto this Gazelle. And first impressions of this shoe. Usually, this type of shoe is not really up my alley. It's a little too different, a little too bold. But the more I look at it, especially as the older I get, I appreciate shoes like this, like heavy use of brown. The blue is maybe a little too much for me, but the gum bottoms are delicious. I really like it. Yeah, I'm kind of torn. It's very different to what I'm usually wearing or what I usually wear now, but I can see myself as I get older. Not saying this is like a dad shoe or anything, but tastes change and this kind of handcrafted construction. I don't know if I'm the person that can pull this shoe off, but I appreciate the thought and difference and uniqueness that went into the shoe. So the upper of this shoe, it is a very interesting construction. So you see this textile base that is actually made from espadrille stitching machines. So the entire shoe is actually inspired by Edison Chen's travels throughout Europe. So if you didn't know, an espadrille is a type of summer sandal. So the make and construction of the shoe is very intentional. And in a vacuum, I don't love textile on sneakers. I'm just a leather is king type of guy. I just prefer leather over anything else. Nubuck is a close second, even though that's just another form of leather. But I do prefer leather. However, that's just really not the point of the shoe. And you see there are nubuck overlays as well on the toe box. And the nubuck does feel pretty smooth. It does feel very nice. And then the most distinct thing about the shoe, or well, one of the most distinct things about the shoe, because the whole thing is very distinct, it is this 3 stripes that is made out of these little beads, and that is actually hand embroidered onto the shoe. So just a very unique look. And there's multiple shades of blue. So you got that light blue, dark blue type of pattern. Very distinct. And right above one of the stripes, you'll see Gazelle very subtly stitched on the upper as well. And you also see blue stitching at the very top of the tongue. And the tongue, again, it is made of the same kind of textile, no padding there, but it's not like a very stiff material, like it doesn't really dig into your ankles. It's very soft in terms of like flimsiness of it. So it kind of just bends around your ankles. It doesn't cause any extra discomfort. So I do like that. And then moving up the shoe, you'll see 2 sets of laces. So the laces that come out of the box is this one. It's got that same type of brown with light blue stitching around the trim and outline of the laces. The other one, it's got this kind of rope aesthetic and it's light blue as well. Out of the 2, I think I'd prefer to go with the light blue rope-like laces. I just think it gives it a little bit of an extra pop. I don't really love the stitched outline of the laces that come out of the box. Rope-like laces, it is for me. And moving on to the booty of the shoe, no branding here, just a very blank booty. And that's one pretty different thing about this shoe compared to like past Clot collaborations with Nike and Jordan Brand. On those collaborations, you'll see a ton of Clot branding. On the shoe, you don't really see any at all. In fact, on the upper, yeah, you don't see it at all. Nothing. You just think it's a regular Adidas kind of special looking shoe. And this shoe comes with one of my favorite things about shoes as I get older. It is gum bottoms with Adidas branding all over, a little Adidas cutout. And again, surprisingly, no Clot branding on the outsole as well. And what's also very special about the construction of the outsole, this gum outsole is like hand stitched to the upper. So you'll see that exposed stitching all throughout. So once again, the theme of the shoe really shines through, inspired by espadrilles and this whole handcrafted aesthetic. Very, very unique. A regular Adidas Gazelle usually comes with like a rubber cup sole that you might see on like Air Force Ones, Nike Dunks, Air Jordan 1s. This one, you can see like the exposed stitching from the upper onto the outsole. Now the shoe does come with a very padded insole. You can feel like the cushioning of the insole, specifically in the heel area. Not quite sure exactly what technology uses. Might be just like really nice polyurethane, but this shoe, this insole really gets across the importance of like a very comfortable insole. Because if you're just going off the shoe alone, you might not think it's very comfortable. The cushioning looks very minimal, but because of this insole, it's very soft and nice padded insole. It just feels nice. And this is actually the only place where you see Klopt branding on the shoe. It is inside the insole, so you see Klopt branding right here. And the box of the shoe, pretty standard Adidas box. You'll see Klopt branding there. Again, compared to past collaborations, just very, very subtle Klopt branding for this collaboration. Yeah, that's it. Even the paper inside is just Adidas paper. Now in terms of sizing and comfort, I am a wide and flat footer for the shoe. Really had no idea how to size it. It's so different than like a regular Gazelle. I went for a size 10, so up half a size, only because size 9.5 sold out. So I just went for a size 10. And I will say there's a little bit of wiggle room. There's not a lot of padding around the ankle collar of the shoe. It's very thin all the way around, not a lot of padding inside. So I knew the shoe would have a little bit too much room for my feet. So whether or not you have wide feet, I do recommend you just sticking true to size. However, for the comfort, I didn't really know what to expect because the materials on the shoe doesn't really scream comfortable. But I will say, because of that insole, the bottom of your feet feels very well cushioned. And overall, the textile is pretty soft as well. It's not like super stiff textile, so there's not a lot of break-in time. It's a super, super light shoe, as you might expect. I think the majority of the weight of the shoe probably comes from the rubber outsole. I don't have like an Adidas Gazelle in my current rotation, so I can't do like a on-feet comparison. But I do have to say, in general, I would have no problems if I had to wear this shoe like all week. And that brings the total sole score of the Klopt Adidas Gazelle Bluebird to 34 out of 50. A pretty average score compared to other collaborations. Now first, it is colorway. It's not my favorite type of colorway. I think the blue is a little bit too much. As I get older, I do like brown shoes more and more. Maybe slightly darker shade of brown, but this light brown works as well. Yeah, it's not a colorway that I absolutely love, but I definitely don't hate it. Don't hate it at all. Now next, it is materials. Usually I just prefer leather over everything else, but the kind of inspiration and the thought that went behind the materials on the shoe, I really appreciate. The espadrille inspired stitching on the upper, pretty tough but soft feeling textile is pretty nice as well. The nubuck overlays feels very, very smooth. And these beads, it's not my thing. It's not like my favorite thing to put on a shoe, but I do appreciate that it's like hand embroidered onto the shoe. It gives it a bit more like an elevated touch. And it's just something different. Subjectively, not my favorite materials on a sneaker. Objectively, I appreciate how different it is. And next, it is comfort. This is where I'm pleasantly surprised. Didn't seem like a super comfortable shoe, minimal cushioning, minimal technology, super thin around the ankles. But the insole, I really appreciate. Minimal break-in time, because like I said, the textile is very soft as well, not super stiff, and it's just so light. It really at times does feel like you're kind of just wearing a sock. Now next to this versatility, the Adidas Gazelle silhouette overall, super versatile, super easy to wear. It's lasted this long for a reason. But with the whole spin on the Gazelle, objectively, I will say it's not like super wearable. It takes a specific type of person to pull a shoe off like this. I don't think I'm that person, but someone else can probably pull this off easily. But it is still very bold, very out there, very, very different, especially these beads. The other colorway I think is actually slightly more wearable. This one, just not really as much. So the Gazelle shape and shoe, wearable. The colors and the materials, perhaps, that's been chosen on the shoe, yeah, it's different. Only some people can pull this off effectively. Probably not me. In terms of storytelling, I was pretty surprised at this part as well. Usually for Klopt sneakers, we're in collaboration with Nike and Jordan Brand. There's a lot of storytelling from the box to other things that come in the box to the shoe itself. On this shoe, you really couldn't tell it's a Klopt shoe unless you like looked into the insole. Yeah, it just seems like a very special Adidas Gazelle. You might be able to pick up like the espadrille inspiration, but everything else about it, there's not a ton of obvious and explicit storytelling behind it. I can't help but be a little bit bummed that Klopt and Nike and Jordan Brand are no longer going to collaborate. I've always been a Nike and Jordan Brand kid, so growing up, that's just kind of the shoes that I was gravitating towards. And one thing that I really appreciated about Clot, they would always put like an Eastern spin to their collaborations. As an Asian dude, I obviously appreciate it. And another thing that I mostly appreciate about Edison Chen and Clot is I wasn't a fan of every single one of their collaborations, but I was always a fan of the chances they took. It didn't always hit for me, but I do appreciate them always taking that chance. And it does seem like they've taken that same DNA and applied it to their current partnership with Adidas. So that's it. Thanks for watching Sole Inclined. Let me know what you think of the Clot Adidas Gazelle Bluebird. Like, subscribe, comment, all the good stuff. And remember, tomorrow may never come the way your shoes.